Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to lesson 16 in the Fiqh series. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salati wa atamu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma alimna bima yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna bi karamika ilma. Amma ba'd. So we continue with the next chapter, which is Tayammum, which is dry ablution. And the author says, وشرائط التيمم خمسة أشياء: وجود العذر بسفر أو مرض، ودخول الوقت الصلاة، وطلب الماء، وتعذر استعماله وعوازه بعد الطلب، والتراب الطاهر له غبار فإن خالطه بجس أو رمل لم يجز. So the author, he starts off with the conditions for tayammum. So tayammum in the language is called qasd, to intend, and in the according to the ulama, it's إيصال تراب طهور إلى الوجه واليدين بدلا عن الوضوء أو الغسل أو غسل عضو بشرائط مخصوصة. Okay, so it's to transfer the pure earth, the earth dust, onto the face and the hands, and this is in substitute for performing wudu or ghusl, perform the purificatory bath, or for washing a limb, and this is with specific conditions. So these are the conditions, and it comes in the Quran, فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. So here, an intent and perform ablution with pure earth. So seek pure earth to perform tayammum. وَجُعْلَتْ لِي الْأَرْضَ مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا. And in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and the earth has been made for me pure, a place of sajda, alhamdulillah, for the Prophet's ummah, the Prophet ﷺ, this earth, the whole, we can pray in any place. It is, as long as it is it's a clean place, we are able to pray in any place, in the earth, on the grass, on the sand, anywhere. And so this whole earth has been made for the Prophet ﷺ, masjidan, as a place of prayer, to where you can do sajda, to prostrate, and it's made pure. So this was specific to the Prophet ﷺ and his people. So tayammum is a concession. It's from how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for us. If we have a loss of water, we do not have water to wash ourselves, to perform wudu, so we cannot therefore be in a purified state to perform salah or read the Quran, for example. And it's also when we have a reason, another excuse. So that's one excuse: we have no water available. Or we may have water available, but we actually cannot use it because of some illness. If we use the water on some limb of ours, it will prolong our illness, or it's going to be an issue for us regarding our health. So those are the two main areas that the excuses are: loss of water, and it's going to prolong illness, and it's going to have health issues and repercussions. So the main thing here at the moment we saw إِصَالَ تُرَابٍ طَهُورٍ. So we've seen the turab, the earth dust, it has to be pure that you're going to use. It cannot be something that you've used. So you perform tayammum already with this dust, it's come off your limbs, and then you're going to use that one again. You can't. That's used, just like you use water if you do wudu. And for the third obligatory parts of our limbs, once we've done the first time we've washed our face or our arms or our feet or wiped the hair, that water, if it comes down and collects in a bowl, for example, we can't use that again. That's used water, as if our sins have been taken out from within. So similarly, if we used already the earth dust on our hands or our faces, the main two areas, we're going to use tayammum, we're going to wipe with this earth, then we can't use it again. And also, if it's impure, we cannot use it again. So it has to be pure. It cannot be used, it cannot be impure. So the 5 conditions. So it starts off with وجود العذر بسفر أو مرض. So that's what I was mentioning, that tayammum comes in and kicks in really when you have an excuse, you have an udhr, and this is to do with traveling or illness. So if you use water, you have water, but if you use it, it's going to prolong your illness. It's going to make that limb get better, even more longer. It's going to prolong that. Or you have no water available, so therefore you cannot perform wudu. Or you may have water available, but actually it's only for drinking or cooking purposes, and that's enough for that, for example, especially when you're on a journey. So that's the first thing. And usually for the marad part, it's if a doctor advises, a sound, just doctor, he advises that, you know, do not use water. Stay away from water over that area, over that wound, over that. So in that case, then you can perform tayammum. If it's especially in a part where you're going to be washing for wudu. Again, if it's for ghusl, it's the whole body, and if you can't wash that part, therefore you'll have to do the substitute, which is at-tayammum. The second thing is وَدُخُولِ وَقْتِ الصَّلَاةِ. So the entrance of the prayer time has to come. So tayammum is a concession, and it's a weak form of purification. Wudu will be the complete and strong form of purification, just like ghusl, the purificatory bath. So tayammum is a substitute. Because it's a substitute, it's a weak form of purification. So you have to do it when the time has entered. You can't do it before Salat al-Dhuhr starts. You can't do it before, say, in the Salat of, you're praying the Sunnah of Salat al-Dhuha. This is the time period, mid-morning, you're praying this Sunnah prayers, and then with the same tayammum that you did, you're going to, Salat al-Dhuhr time is going to enter, and then you're going to perform the Fard Salat of Dhuhr. You cannot do that. Once Salat al-Dhuhr started, then you can only perform, do tayammum for that specific prayer then. So the time has to enter. Whereas for wudu, it's at any time, and because this is a necessary substitute when you don't have water to wudu, then because of that weak nature of this kind of purification, prayer time has to enter when you're able to then do it. Then the next condition is talabul ma. So again, seeking the water is after the entrance of the time. So you can't start seeking water, like if you have no water and you have no water, you don't seek it then, you seek it when the prayer time enters. So now it's time for dhuhr. Right now I need to find water before performing wudu. But then if you can't find it, that's when you're able to perform tayammum. So you have to seek the water after the entrance of the time. The person who is ill will not be a seeker of water, because water is there, but he's not able to use it because it's going to make his condition worse. And what is the distances you got to check? First, you check your inventory. If you're on travel, you check inventory. So this is a person who's going on a travel. He checks his inventory. What does he have? Does he have enough water? If he has enough water just to drink or for cooking, then obviously he's not going to use that for to perform wudu in, because that'll be a wastage of water, and you need to preserve your life as well, and you need the water on that journey that you're taking, as journeys can be hardship. So the traveler is the one who seeks it. So you want on your travel, you check yourself, what you have, and then if you're with a group of friends, you check if they have anything that's if you don't have to go and specifically check every single person's bag, but you ask, and does anybody have water that they can allow for using to perform wudu in? And then if that's the case that you can't, then you perform tayammum. Of course, you check again in your vicinity. So all four sides, north, west, east, south, you check this vicinity. And signs are, if you're in a desert or in a jungle, sometimes there's water, there's a flock of birds, and you can see there's that's a sign that there might be some water there. There might be trees in an area, there might be water there, for example. So you have to check in all four directions. And generally speaking, it's wherever, if you were to, it's called haddul ghawth. It's a distance of, if you were to shout out to somebody, they can hear you. If you shoot an arrow, wherever it lands, that kind of distance, that kind of perimeter is kind of where you search for left, right, center. Depending on, now the main thing is safety. When you're traveling, if you're able to go and there might be the traveling group has to move on and they can't, so if you start to leave them, then that's going to cause an issue. You'll start getting lost. So as long as your life is safe, you have no issues about going to, there's nothing that's going to endanger you, or loss of limb, or your wealth, you might get, there's no danger of being robbed. So all these kind of things, once all these kind of safety checks are in place, and you know that, okay, if I do go and search, there's going to be no issue whatsoever, then yes, you go and search to this kind of area. It's haddul ghawth, which is that wherever you can shoot an arrow up till, or where you can throw your voice to somebody to ask for help. So making sure the importance is the safety of your life, loss of your limbs, that there's no loss of limbs, and your wealth is all, and anything that you need. So if you're in need of anything that's not of value of money wise, but you specifically need that for your whatever occupation you may have, or whatever it is, it's a personal possession that you need and you have to do with, as long as that can be safe, that it's not going to get stolen, then then if all these safeties, if the safety risk assessment is done, then you can go and search into this kind of distance. And then the next thing, وتعذر استعماله وعوازه بعد الطلب, and you're excused for not, you have the excuse for not using the water. So this was all about fearing for yourself, your limbs. If there is water there, you can even see it, but then sometimes there's a do not approach danger, do not approach a water sign. It's an area forbidden to enter for water. Then you have that excuse. So you have the excuse not to use water. So that's one of the other conditions. And again, if you have there are animals with you, and there are those animals that are to be respected, and if they're thirsty, you can give them water. So then you wouldn't use it for performing wudu, you give it to them, and therefore you perform tayammum. And then وَالتُّرَابُ الطَّاهِرِ لَهُ غُبَارٌ فَإِنْ خَالَطَهُ جِسٌّ أَوْ رَمْلٌ لَمْ يَجُزْ. And the main thing is that dust, this earth dust, has to have ghubar, has to have this dust kind of nature. You strike it, and then it's on your skin. It's not like clay. It's not turned. So if you start wiping on your limbs, it's not then turned to clay. It has that kind of like dusty nature. So that's what this last one is. That it's pure as well. So again, we said it was not going to be impure. It's not mixed with droppings of animals. It's not used. You haven't already used it for tayammum. Someone's not used it already, and now you're using the same thing. It has to be the soil that has that dust feature to it, and you can perform tayammum with it. So in the next lesson we shall look at the obligatory aspects of tayammum and how to perform tayammum. وصلى الله سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم.